There's a silent war happening inside you. You feel it every time you hesitate to speak your mind, every time you check your reflection, not for neatness, but for approval. Every time you replay a moment over and over in your head, wondering what they thought of you. That uncomfortable voice in your mind that whispers doubt, fear, and hesitation. That invisible weight on your chest that slows you down. This war doesn't have a name, but it has casualties, your voice, your confidence, your freedom. Most people spend their lives locked in a prison they never see. A prison built from other people's opinions, walls made of whispers, judgments, and imagined critiques. A cage with invisible bars forged by fear and social pressure. But what if I told you, you hold the key? You don't need their permission to be free. You only need the courage to stop caring what they think. Not in rebellion, not in arrogance, but in wisdom, in calm understanding. Let me show you 3 ways to stop caring what others think. 1. Realize most people aren't thinking about you. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you judged a stranger harshly and then carried that thought all day? When was the last time someone made a minor mistake and you obsessed over it for hours? It's rare, isn't it? The truth is, you're not thinking about others nearly as much as you think. And the same is true in reverse. They're not watching you. They're not judging you. They're too busy, worrying about themselves. Their own doubts, fears, and insecurities drown out any fleeting thought of you. You think they remember that awkward thing you said? You think they noticed the stumble in your step, the crack in your voice, the nervous twitch in your hand? They didn't, because in their minds they are the main character, and you're just a passing scene, a fleeting extra in the theater of their day. This should not depress you. It should liberate you. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." And nowhere is that more true than here. You suffer not because they judge you, but because you believe they are judging you. You write stories in your head about how they laugh behind your back or whisper when you leave the room. But the truth, they're too caught up in their own doubts, their own image, their own fears. And just like you, they struggle silently. You are not the center of their universe. You are free to stop performing. Free to stop calculating your every word, free to stop living like a walking apology, free to reclaim your presence. Try this. The next time you feel self-conscious, pause and ask, what evidence do I have that they're thinking about me at all? Often you'll find none. And even if they are, so what? Their opinions are fleeting, their thoughts are untrained. Their judgments are shaped by pain you'll never see. Let them think what they will. Their opinion is not your reality. Now, if their thoughts don't define you, what does? This leads us on to the next point. 2. Define your own scoreboard. There was once a boy in the marketplace. He watched a speaker command the crowd, bold, articulate, sure of himself. The boy had thoughts of his own, ideas burning in his chest, but he stayed silent. Later, I asked him why. He looked down and said, "What if they laugh?" And I said, "What if they don't?" He paused. Then I asked, "And if they do, what part of you would it destroy?" That's the question most never ask. Not just, what will they think of me? But, why does it matter so much? Most people don't live by their own compass. They live by an invisible scoreboard. A scoreboard made of praise and likes and claps and nods. A scoreboard they didn't build, but feel compelled to win. They measure success by applause, self-worth by acceptance. Their lives become a theater, and they, the desperate performer. But here's the truth. If your value can be given by others, it can also be taken away. And that's not freedom. That's slavery dressed in compliments. So ask yourself, Who set your scoreboard? Was it your parents, your peers, your followers? Who told you what counts as winning in this life? Now imagine a different scoreboard, one no one else can control, one that measures not applause but your effort, not popularity but your principles, not fleeting fame but lasting integrity. Let me offer another way, the Stoic way. Epictetus once said, "If you wish to be invincible, focus only on what you can control." And what can you control? Your effort, your principles, your courage to speak truth, even when your voice shakes. The real scoreboard lives within. It is made of things no one can give or take: integrity, discipline, wisdom, compassion, resolve. These are not popular, they won't go viral, but they are eternal. So if you lived by this scoreboard and no one ever clapped for you again, would you still walk this path? If the answer is yes, then you've already won. But even knowing this, there's still one more enemy to face. Not external, internal. Let's go there now. 3. Practice stillness to hear your own voice again. Even if no one's watching, even if you set your own scoreboard, there's still a whisper that follows you everywhere. What if they're right? What if I really am not enough? What if their rejection means something about me? This is the deepest trap of all, letting someone else's opinion become your identity. Their dislike becomes your shame. Their silence becomes your self-doubt. Their projection becomes your prison. But their opinion is not your mirror. You are not what they say. You are what you believe. Imagine a mountain covered in fog. Would you call it small, weak, unworthy? No, because you know the fog is temporary, and so are their judgments. To see clearly again, you must return to stillness. Not isolation, not escape. Stillness, not the absence of sound, but the quieting of noise. Noise from the crowd, noise from your own anxious thoughts, noise from the endless chase for validation. You don't need a temple. You don't need a monk's robe. You need one breath, right now. Inhale, exhale. Ask yourself, what truly matters in this moment? Who am I beneath what they think? What would I choose if I trusted myself fully? Stillness is the soil where self-trust grows, and when you begin to hear your own voice again, a quiet voice but unmistakably yours, you stop needing their permission to speak. You speak from truth, not from fear, and in that moment you become unshakable. But before we close, let me offer one more truth, one most people never see coming: the praise trap. Let's flip the coin. So far, we've talked about fear of criticism. But what about praise? You think the danger is in their disapproval. But often, the real trap is their approval. When they cheer, when they flatter, when they put you on a pedestal, it feels good. So good that you start to need it. And that's when you become addicted. Every like becomes a leash. Every compliment, a contract. Every round of applause becomes a prison wrapped in gold. You no longer do things because they're right. You do them because they're rewarded. And when the applause stops, you panic. The praise trap is subtle. You think you're growing. You think you're confident, but you're just performing better. You're still on their scoreboard. You're still playing their game. So what's the way out? Welcome praise. Appreciate it, but never require it. Smile when it comes and let it pass like a breeze, because your identity is not made of what they love about you. It's made of what you still do when no one's watching. So I ask again, if no one ever congratulated you, would you still be proud of how you live? There's a paradox no one teaches. When you stop caring what others think, you don't become cold. You don't become careless. You become fearless. You walk taller, not because they approve, but because you do. You speak clearer, not to impress, but to express. You move freer, not to be seen, but to stay true. And oddly enough, people trust you more. They sense your steadiness. They feel your peace. They admire what they cannot manipulate. This is the paradox of integrity. The moment you no longer need their approval, you gain their respect. But that's not the goal. The goal is freedom, and it begins with one decision: to stop living by borrowed beliefs. You don't need to shout. You don't need to prove them wrong. Just let go and rise. You've spent enough time in the prison of perception. Now, it's time to leave. Not with defiance, not with bravado, but with quiet, steady power. The Stoic way is not to stop caring. It's to care about the right things, not their approval, but your character. Not their opinions, but your truth. Not their praise, but your peace. So let them misunderstand you. Let them talk. Let them judge. You just walk forward, calm, grounded, free. And when the noise of the world grows loud again, come back here. I'll be walking with you if this message struck a chord with you. If you felt a shift inside you, then subscribe, reflect, return when needed. And more than anything else, live your truth, even when no one's clapping.